content creation, video creation is its own special workflow. It's not project management.
No.
We are kind of right in the middle of building out a video planning app, web app, because when we started this podcast, in a very short time, we saw the mess that was coming.
Yeah.
And our show does not even take that much research or content or scripting, but just pulling together the ideas and knowing how to like form shows from that, and themed shows, and
Well, we just did show number 20, right? So
yeah,
that's where you start. You really start. You feel it early on. At first you're like, even within the first couple episodes, you're like, wow, we bit off a lot more than
like you didn't expect it.
Yeah, you don't expect it. Especially
everything's in a Google Doc, and then within like 2 weeks, the Google Doc is just like, whoa,
out of control.
There's so much going on here.
And it's like, well, put it in a folder. It just gets messy quick.
It gets messy quick, and we kind of are like looking at each other, thinking, why doesn't an app like this exist? And then the more we dug,
and we went looking.
We did. We really looked, and the more we dug, we kind of found 3 sort of different things that people are using. They're either using business apps, productivity apps, so Google Docs and Notion, hooked into Airtable.
Yeah.
The other one was note apps like Evernote, Milanote, text documents, Google Keep, all of these. And I should say, with the first batch comes, Sheets, Excel, all those. And then the last one is the dedicated tools mostly intended for the actual industry, film and TV industry, actual
scripting,
production planning, And that in that first group, that's the big one. All of those, Monday, Jira, Atlassian, which I think makes
that's Jira,
one of those, Bandcamp, all of these project management, Kanban boards, timelines, organization, all these things. Many of them have free tiers, and so people are using them, but none of them are made for
this industry.
Like making entertainment.
Yeah.
They're not designed for making entertainment. And entertainment,
especially YouTube-ish
YouTube, medium to long-form content.
Long-form.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not made for hook, intro, topic 1, topic 2, sponsor message.
Yeah.
People think, but you can write that with anything. No, you can't really. Not if you want to make it integrated.
Well, you can, but then it's going to be a mess.
It's a mess. It takes you longer, but also it's not integrated.
Yeah.
And I had a long conversation with a Redditor a couple of days ago who uses Notion with Airtable. And he was a little puzzled by what I was suggesting.
Yeah.
This whole idea of integration. When he said, well, Notion's integrated. And I said, yeah, but Notion, there is a free tier, but it's also a much bigger app. It's a complicated app to learn. And if you want anything like video planning, you have to pay for that template.
Buy a template, yeah.
And it's not entirely integrated. It's not integrated the way that we envision something to be integrated.
No.
It's kind of like duct tape integration, how you would see, for example, Google Docs and Google Sheets. Yeah, they're integrated. Like you can put a link to a Google Doc.
They're not specific to a workflow.
They're not specific to a workflow. You never get the impression working in a Google Doc that has a link to the spreadsheet that you're in any kind of flow.
No, think of it this way, right? If I was a landscaper and I needed a system for communicating and scheduling with my customers, right? Could I use Google Docs and Google Sheets for that? Yeah, but I'd have to build out invoices and build it and use my Google Calendar and all of this stuff.
And all your files are on Google Drive, and you've got to then categorize them there.
And can I also throw into that mix the graphics for my business cards and my trucks and the scheduling of repairs for my equipment at the dealership that does my trucks and my lawnmowers and. Yeah, you can use the Google Suite and Notion and Airtable and Zapier and all of these things to tie everything together. It's not custom to your workflow. There are, however, landscaping applications out there for landscapers.
If there aren't, they end up building them themselves in-house out of necessity.
Right.
And that's kind of where I feel like these so many creators starting out, and that's the thing. There are also 3 tiers of creators we've worked out. There are 3 tiers of creators, and I think
for the most part, yeah.
For the most part, I read a post that hinted at this, but the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense that the tier 1 YouTube user is not too concerned with workflow problems. They realize it's a lot of work.
Well, they've just gotten, and let's define who that person
they're
is.
They're still in the honeymoon phase.
Right.
They're still like,
just starting.
I'm going to have a YouTube channel and I'm just going to start making videos because I want to be one of these people. It looks fun. I know something that I have a great idea for.
Yep.
And they jump in head first like we did. Everyone starts there.
Everybody. I mean,
I have a 10 great ideas that I want to see on YouTube because I think other people would like these ideas.
They might be right.
They might be right, but they're not thinking about workload or workflow, anything like that. They're just
because where you quickly realize it is in the edit.
In the edit, that's when you start realizing this is not for the the faint of heart.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Those newcomers to the YouTube platform are really just thinking about how does it look and sound.
Yeah.
How do I seem? How am I delivering?
Because that's the first thing.
What are they going to think?
What does it look like on my camera?
What's my thumbnail going to be?
Yeah.
What's my title going to be?
Yeah.
How am I going to write my description?
Because that's step 1.
That's step 1.
And it makes sense.
Everyone starts there. But then when you start doing it more
Yeah.
and you kind of get into a groove, as we are now, we're now more into a groove. We release once every couple of weeks, which is enough.
Yeah.
There are some people who release every week.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And they release long form content every week. That's a lot of work. They are now, they're cognizant of how it looks and sounds and the production quality, but they're very much now looking at a later stage tier 1. Right. They're now looking at how can I cut time out of this?
Yes.
How do I cut time and have a life making this YouTube channel?
Right.
Then when you get to tier 2, you've I'm assuming it's going to be around 100 videos, I would say. I don't know what the real number is. I mean, who really knows? But I feel like once you're at tier 2, you've probably got a fairly good subscriber base.
Yeah.
You might even have a sponsor or 2, maybe. But you definitely do know what your niche is. You've definitely hit a groove with your work and your workflow.
Yeah.
You have a good bead on what content works and what doesn't. You've been around the block a few times.
Yeah.
You're now in a place to be handing out advice. You're definitely thinking, where do I cut time? Many people outsource the work.
Yeah, they start hiring.
They hire, someone to edit. Some people do want to hire even people to research for. I'm assuming, outfits like, a GMM Good Mythical Morning, they have a whole team.
Of course.
They do the graphics,
well,
they do the research.
That's tier 3.
That's tier 3. And that is tier 3, exactly right.
Yeah.
These are the established channels, big sponsors, huge, followers.
It's a big business at that point.
And that made me think more and more when asked the question, like, what is our customer base?
Yeah. Who's our target?
I think our customer base is sort of late tier 1 and tier 2.
Well, so let's describe what our app is really, because to give some context here. So what we've been saying is that, planning content is hard. Planning content isn't as easy as using Google Docs, etc. However, that's where everybody starts. Planning content well helps you in the edit, which is a big time sink.
Yes.
Because the better you plan, the better you come off on camera, the less junk that's in there that you have to sift through, the less retakes or
exactly right. The more
footage you have to shoot,
the more you are prepped before your shoot.
Yeah.
The tighter those shoots are going to be, and the less editing you'll have to do.
Think of your local news, right? If you watch your local news channel, they are planned very well, right? Like the evening news, your local 6 o'clock news or 5 o'clock news, whatever it is, they're planned out very well, and there's almost no editing there. There's a live director that's calling the shots, but there's no post for the most part, other than the prepackaged stuff they insert along the way.
And they're inserting ads, and exactly right. It's the same
setup. But it's well scripted.
Yeah.
Now, we should also note, we're not talking about heavily scripted necessarily. We're just saying you want to have talking points that you make sure you hit as you go. And some people may be more scripted. Yeah. It depends on the show. It depends on what you're shooting. We're not just talking about a format like this. We're also talking about maybe it's somebody that has a cooking channel and they do cook recipes, whatever. The whole thing isn't scripted word for word, but you have a good game plan as to what you're going to do.
Every creator works differently. And we have talked to a ton of creators. Like we have talked
Thousands
to I don't know how many, but we have just talked up and down. YouTubers, podcasters, casual video creators, more established ones, less established ones, newcomers, etc. They all work a little differently. Some use scripts, some don't use scripts. Some use talking points.
Yeah.
Some started using talking points and went to scripts.
Some use nothing.
Some went the other way.
Yeah.
Many just wing it because they're doing gameplays or they're building something and they are so familiar now with what they're building, they don't need a script.
Yeah.
They can just talk straight to camera. And I think that's right. We should then talk about what exactly it does. And our initial workflow was you start with an idea. Yeah. It's an idea for a video. You're out and about, maybe you are thinking about something and something occurs to you, that would make a great video idea. Well, you need to be able to capture that at that moment.
Right.
How are you capturing that?
Capture
What are you
the
capturing?
idea, not the video.
Yeah, capturing it. And you might even snap some things that you might use, but
sure.
This is much more about the idea capture. You're out and about and you want to be able to capture an idea quickly, take a note, maybe even start a few script ideas right there, save it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're at home already and you just want to drag something that piqued your interest. Maybe
an image or
a video clip.
Yeah.
You want to drag that into your script real quick. And that's the beginning. That goes into an easy to manage table.
Yeah.
All your video ideas just sitting in there.
Yeah.
And then
organized however you want it based on your tagging or whatever you like.
Yeah,
however
everything
you like
tagged.
To organize.
Everything tagged. One of the biggest complaints we got was the amount of time it takes to manage siloed files.
Yeah.
Because you've got some on your hard drive, you got some on your cloud,
and this isn't
some on your phone.
This isn't your live video files that you're shooting with your camera. Right. This isn't B-roll that you're using.
Yeah.
This is more things that you want to talk about while you're being recorded. For example, again, if we go back to like that cooking channel, right? I maybe want to talk about the different types of rice that you could use in this dish. And maybe I have some images of that types of rice. Now, maybe I will use some of that as B-roll or whatever, depending on how that person's channel goes.
Yeah.
But this is more just to make me remember that during the shoot, I want to talk about, jasmine rice has a different translucency than white rice. And that's because of the starch value. And so it's more just about, these are pieces of content, whether it's text, video, imagery, whatever, that's going to give you talking points to hit on. It's going to inform your script for the day of your shoot.
And the reason for that is because ultimately, once that script is written, if they're even using a script, it could be talking points. We want an interactive live script for your tablet or your laptop.
Yes.
Right there with you, where your talking points are there. If you want to talk about that photo or the different kinds of rice, maybe you had a video clip you wanted to talk about. Maybe you had a social media post that you're like weighing in on or something.
It could be on camera or off camera.
On camera, it's up to you, but having that right there with you makes you feel more prepared, makes your shoot then, more confidence, gives you more energy because now you understand, like you're ready to deliver this information and it makes the shoots tighter.
Well, whenever you know the topic you're talking about in life, right?
Yeah.
You tend to be more energetic about it. You tend to come off better as you know what you're talking about, as opposed to ums and ahs. And that's also less editing, right? Because the more ums and ahs in there, the more you have to edit it. And the harder it becomes to edit, because sometimes you have to throw away footage because it's like, oh man, that sucked. There was so much good things I said, but it was so interspersed with the ums and the ahs and the pauses.
And a lot of creators
it just
really
breaks the flow.
Yeah, and a lot of creators that I've talked to, they really do struggle. Like some of the questions you see over and over again are, I don't like the way that I sound, or I feel like I'm not delivering this right, or I don't have any confidence, or I'm stuttering, or I'm stammering. We feel like it would be so helpful to have it right in front of us.
Yeah.
You're not on a tiny phone. You're not using a printout.
Yeah, or you can keep it off camera.
On camera, off camera, it doesn't matter.
Let it scroll itself or control it however you want.
The other part of it also is that whenever you're looking down at something like this, it's very disengaging. Like, for example, if Steve starts looking down at his notes while I'm talking, especially when I'm talking to him, and he's looking down at his notes.
It's like I'm not paying attention.
It's really hard to cut around that. You realize only in post that, well, what do I put here now?
You go back to the single shot.
Yeah, the single shot. So now I got to cut away to me because he's disengaged now.
The general gist comes down to what we saw as a need, right? And the need that we saw is that people need to be able to plan their content better, plan their content shoots better, and then do their presentation better.
And I think to put it all into perspective, the biggest complaint right now, and we saw it immediately, is fragmentation.
Yeah.
Because people are using free tools, and it's great that they're free, but free tools don't make them the right tools. And that's kind of what we've been arguing.
Yeah.
All those different places that you're storing your scripts, your data, maybe they're in Sheets, your files are in the cloud or on your computer.
Hurdle in your workflow.
It's another hurdle. It's a broken workflow. You're jumping around a lot more than you need to. It's not integrated.
Right.
I feel like, the more that I think about it, I feel like we're in the early days of almost like music producers before the DAWs came along. Mm-hmm. Those digital audio workstations where you had like one app that sort of did one thing,
but then you had to dump it to tape over there.
To tape, or you could only edit your samples in the other app. You couldn't do it all in one app.
Put it on a floppy, bring it over to the other computer.
What a pain! It burned so much time like that. It was exhausting.
Yep.
Why not have it all integrated, all of your media ready to find? And those broken workflows where these content creators that we've talked to are frustrated because they realize this stuff is not centralized, it's not integrated, and they want to see it integrated. It makes perfect sense.
And it's interesting because we saw this early on. I mean, I would say even before we did our first shoot, we were like, so we're using Google Docs and Google Sheets for this?
So messy.
Because there just wasn't anything. And now, I'm a software engineer by trade. I come from the world of Jira and all these, agile tools and project management. And I could kind of shoehorn some of those things to make this work, but it's the same problem, right? So our idea with our app is to handle the workflow accurately to the need of a content producer.
Yeah, very specific. I mean, content creation, video creation is its own special workflow. It's not project management.
No.
It's not a Google Doc. No. You can use a Google Doc, but it's not designed for that. One of the ideas we have as a part of this, start to finish creator workflow is a timeline kind of helper next to your script where already you can start planning out your B-roll footage, your visuals, what music cues you might want to see here.
Your intros, your sponsor messages, whatever.
Exactly. Everything's part of the planning.
Yeah.
And even looking further ahead, we want to be able to use the stats from your own videos and the content you've created so far, using very likely AI helper technology to say, well, what have you made in the past, and how can we take your best performing content and start finding some different avenues with this?
Right.
Focus your planning on things that are going to have better viewership.
And that's everything from topic generation and ideation via AI to just knowing the numbers based on stats to just, the structure of your content performed better. This structure performed better than some other structure.
And hooking that AI helper into even the comments on your videos.
Yeah.
Because those comments very often will inform a few things about what viewers saw.
And sure, some of it you can take with a grain of salt.
Absolutely. But it could go through there. If you see the same
messages over and over and over, chances are there might be a little something there. Like people, that guy that has the cooking channel, people love when he talks about pasta, and those are the best performing videos. So
exactly right.
It will help inform that sort of thing.
And then it goes without saying to have an AI portion, and that might come sooner actually, for the actual script writing, for those who are writing scripts. And it could even just be help to give me the most logical breakout of my talking points. I don't need a script.
Yeah.
Or give me some ideas for what a sponsor message should say.
Yeah.
Here,
and again, we
like
say
that.
Script, and we kind of use the term script interchangeably with talking points. It's really as detailed as you want to make it.
Yeah,
right?
Every creator is different.
So some people, like I said, want a really verbose script, and some people like us just have a handful of talking points that they want to make sure they hit on.
And I mean, you'll see people who are doing heavy VO content. They're writing full scripts for voiceover.
Sure.
We want to see color coding in that script.
Yeah.
In that live script that's there with you. We want color coding. We want
anything to make you more comfortable when you're
easy
on
to
camera.
read.
Something that just makes you feel like, oh, I'm very sure of myself. I'm very confident in what I have to perform and present. And so that's why we're building ShowShaper. It's showshaper.com. It's in the early stages. We've been actually under development now for a little while, and we're continuing to do that.
And we're working hard on the beta right now.
Yeah, we're working hard on it. It's not public yet. It's coming soon. You can support us early if you want on our website. You get a great deal there if you do. And we're getting close. We're part of an incubator program, if you want to
furlough, a very interesting
startup
program
booster program, just to kind of get some peer feedback. And
I recommend, by the way, they're great.
And we're hoping, as far as timelines, in the next couple months, you'll start to see something out there where you actually start to get to use it.
I think that one of the big takeaways here is seeing how many apps there are for post-production and how few there are for pre-production. There are almost none for pre-production.
And especially not in this vein. And so I think there's definitely need for it. We'll see what the public thinks.
The feedback has been amazing. The feedback has been amazing. People want it, it seems like. So, we're full steam ahead. So check it out, showshaper.com.